Good afternoon, I'm TerryTopCat for TerryTopCat Purrsents for ClusterView.com. Got the wonderful Mark Anthony Abel who's filming and will be editing. And I'm welcoming my friend, and we've known each other a long time, the wonderful
go way back.
Benedict Lamb. And I want to say a big shout out to your wonderful aunt, because she's my musical mentor and one of my best friends. And that's how I met you. And that's how I met Mark Anthony. And I met Mark Anthony, Cobden Club, through Annabelle and Dave Dix, God rest his soul as well. So,
Yeah.
Small world.
Small world. Hi, Auntie Annabelle. Let's start with that. And she is the reason we met in the first place.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, thank you for having me on.
I've been dying for ages.
We have talked about this for a little while, haven't we? So yeah, it's great to be here again.
So you started off as modelling, which will lead to your Benedict Lamb, your fashion label, and being a stylist and your journey with fashion. But let's start with the modelling. So were you quite young when you started that? I mean, you're a very handsome guy. So were you picked out? Did someone spot you?
Yeah, I was actually scouted the first time in the King's Road. I think I was just turned 17 when it began, and did a few little jobs. I was on the cover of My Guy as an example of the sort of teenage,
right.
Quite funny jobs now that were going at that time. And then so I did it for a little while, and then I took a break, and I was working in recording studios as a sound engineer, which was all through Annabelle and Wally at the time.
Sure.
So I kind of learnt that trade and worked in a few studios. And then in my early 20s, kind of had a second go at it. And I had a previous girlfriend who was a stylist at Vogue, basically. So she put me up for a couple of jobs, and I did a Yohji Yamamoto show and a Matsuda show and a Romeo Gili show. And then suddenly it naturally took off, and I was basically making more money doing that than I was sound engineering. So I kind of sort of jumped ship from music to fashion. And
how was that lifestyle? Because it's portrayed as being very glamorous, but it's very hard work, and especially a long time ago. I don't know, how different would you say it was then to now?
Yeah, well, some things I think will remain the same. I mean, as an industry, it's very unusual in that it's one of the very few industries on the planet where men automatically make half what women make. As an example,
half. Okay.
So yeah, often. And that's just based on the revenues that the fashion and beauty products obviously generate. I think you just need to learn to be quite bulletproof in a way, because you get a lot of rejections. And as an example, even when I was doing very well at it for a couple of years, I did pretty well at it, and was traveling around and doing New York and Milan and Paris and all those glamorous things, and some of it is very glamorous, a lot of it isn't. A lot of it's very tiny hotel rooms and budget flights, to be honest. But did lots of pretty glamorous jobs and
catwalk and campaigns as well.
Yeah, I did both, and we did a lot. I mean I'm like 6'3", so I did a lot of catwalks, and to start with, that was kind of like my main thing, being on that circuit. And what that did for me was expose me to basically some of the best people in the world. So, as I previously mentioned, working for Yohji Yamamoto was one of the first big shows I did in Paris, and I think it was his second show in Paris for him launching off.
Wow.
And it was in the Alaya showroom, and it was amazing, and it was just high fashion, super professional, the Japanese kind of way as well, which is obviously still influences me to this day, stylistically, but also in a kind of work ethic. So the way that we run our studios and the way that we take what we do seriously and almost solemnly at times as well. So we take a lot of that I learned from that era. And it's funny. So when I was probably about 22 at the time, a lot of models that were my contemporaries were all aspiring to be kind of Hollywood actors and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas I was quite happy doing the modelling, but I had no desire to be an actor. But what I did want to do was be a designer. So because I got to see the backstage situation at Yohji, at Romeo Gili, at Byblos, at Fujiwara, at Matsuda, at all these crazy places. So I saw the way they made the clothes and the quality and the thought and everything else that went into it. So even at that age, I didn't want to be in front of the camera so much. I was actually, my dream was to actually be in the back room making the clothes and learning that craft, which is kind of what I've done.
And where did you study then? So once you...
No, I studied everything studied in the real world. So I left school at 16 and went straight into recording studios with Auntie Annabelle as a T-boy, and then a tape op, and then as an assistant engineer. And then the modelling thing happened, and then through that I was exposed to, as I said, really, really high level productions and big labels and big fashion shows. And I mean, the Romeo Gili shows back in the day in Milan there'd be thousands of people at these shows. There were massive productions back then. I mean, there's nothing quite like those now, I think, to be honest. So everything I learned very much in the real world. And now I work with two kind of master tailors and, the Saori Japanese weavers. So we've assembled a team.
So tell us about Saori wool or Saori weavers, because that's what I read. That's quite prominent on your website. And so explain to me and to the audience what Saori is exactly and the weaving and how that is incorporated in your company and how you design stuff.
Yeah, well, Well, thank you. Well, firstly, as you've seen, so if you look at benedictlamb.com or at Benedict Lamb on Instagram, you'll see that we're very it's a fusion of many things, but definitely Japanese influence, and that came from me working with these incredible, like the best people on the planet in my 20s. Saori, spelled Saori, is a kind of ancient Japanese weaving technique. And it's called intuitive weaving. So it's done by hand on beautiful wooden looms. And because it's a very free-form kind of weaving, if, as an example, one of our weavers spends, say, 5 days making a long piece of textile, it becomes like an emotional journey. So if they look at something that's taken that long, they say, okay, that was Tuesday.
Right.
And they can see their emotional imprints, good day, bad day, excitement, or being in a rush, maybe. But all these different things are imprinted into the textile, so they kind of become like diaries. So our label is predominantly bespoke, so we're very small but kind of very high end, and we specialize in making clothes for performers, which we'll get onto in a minute, and whether that can be musicians, newsreaders, comedians, all sorts of people. So we make a lot of one-off pieces. So bespoke tailoring by its own nature is that. And also the Saori weaving, the reason that I became really fascinated by that, or in fact discovered it about 3.5 years ago, was the fact that I met one of these weavers, actually in Norfolk, and she told me all about the process and how it worked. And the thing that really stuck in my mind was it's impossible to make the same thing twice. So that to me is really beautiful, and it kind of brings this amazing kind of uniqueness to every garment we make. So the robes, you've seen some of them on our website.
Your robes and your clothes for men and women are so unique and like wonderful.
Well, and that's quite a big point. So 95% of what we do is androgynous. So the robes are for a man or a woman, and a lot of the tailoring is cut for a man or a woman, and we just tweak it, to fit the individual. So there's an androgynous theme. There's the Japanese kind of historical theme in many ways. Some of our jackets, as an example, are based on samurai armor, and then but converted into tailoring. Then the Saori weaving, obviously completely Japanese origin, although it's all English, quite mature, wonderful, talented ladies that make that in the UK. So all our production is done within the UK. And then we fuse that with some punk elements and a little bit of rock and roll and some other things to fuse it, which kind of is basically a collage of all the things I like, and that bends and weaves and becomes something different, on a sort of monthly basis. So we're always developing. And although we show twice a year for London Fashion Week, we show now in London, the development of the collections is an ongoing rolling thing. So we're kind of aseasonal. So we don't just say, okay, well, we're going to make clothes twice a year. It's a permanent developing kind of, wheel, basically. And that's kind of guided a lot by the fact that a lot of our clothes, particularly the Saori weaving, they take weeks to make one piece, some of them. The most complicated robes, for instance, that you mentioned, the most complicated ones is a month's work to make one piece for probably 3 or 4 ladies. So they're really complicated. So always wary of using the word couture, because there's a qualification for that. But the level of craftsmanship and artisans that we use, and the amount of time, and the selection of only the finest materials, British wool, raw silk, organic linen, all kind of dictate that we produce the ultimate luxury product that I can.
But I also love the colours as well. The colours are they're beautiful, like blues, oranges. And I was very fortunate enough to be invited, and obviously I went with Belle, to your Ladbroke Hall show, autumn and winter, I think. You say it's not seasonal, but
last February.
Yeah,
it was.
And that was, so obviously we want to talk about Win. Big shout out to the wonderful Win.
Yeah, of course.
You had to, and obviously because of your experience with modelling, you had the right people modelling those clothes. They were just, It had Michael from
Michael Kostiff.
Michael, what a legend he is, and
Yeah.
just a fabulous show.
One of my heroes for sure, Michael, and a very good friend, and one of our supermodels as well. So
Yes,
he
supermodels,
ticks,
exactly.
Michael ticks all the boxes, absolutely. Yeah.
But it was such a great show. I loved it. And someone who's, I'll never go to any fashion shows. I love fashion, but I was totally intrigued, and you could see the love and the support, and we were lucky enough to be where everyone was getting ready in a mad rush with the makeup and everything, and it was just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah. Well,
and it's a lot of work. It's not just clothes; it's makeup artists and models. I mean, so much involved. And big love and shout out to Natasha too.
Yeah. Natasha's heavily involved and supportive with everything since day one. And that show, there was a lot of work went into that. And also, in a way, that show was, although we've been doing this for quite a while, because of the COVID break and the fact that we had, about 2.5 year break, really, where we were just developing and not showing to anyone.
That must have been difficult, though. But creatively, probably you had loads of ideas.
I'd compare it to something that you know a lot about, like a band's first album almost, right? So where they spend years and lots of ideas to get in and the first album comes out, but they've had probably a few years to kind of put that one together.
Absolutely, yeah.
And although we were making clothes before COVID, I've been doing it quite a long time, the COVID break kind of gave us a reset. And it's during that time that I met the sari weavers, and also it gave us a chance to really develop products, because normally you don't get 2 years to just experiment and make. It's like that. The fashion world doesn't roll like that. You're always producing, always trying to do the next thing. So that show really was, the timing of it was a kind of blessing in a way, because we had such a long run up because of COVID to develop those products, and that show was great because no one had seen that stuff. It was the first time the world saw those things, So
heavily attended too, I must say.
Heavily attended and very, very well supported by lots of our fashion friends, of course.
And I must say, I loved all the leathers and accessories. You make a lot of accessories as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do.
I love the accessories.
I'm very, very big on leather and sheepskins, and one of the themes that you will have noticed that runs through all of it is a kind of tribalism.
Absolutely.
So I always describe it as a kind of fictitious global tribe, because although there's Japanese influences, people see what we do and they're like, oh, that looks a bit African, or that looks a bit South American, or that looks a bit. And I embrace all of that, and the idea is that it's a fusion of lots of elements, not trying to disrespect any one culture in any way at all, but kind of really celebrating it, and also meeting and getting to work with the best leather workers in the country, the best metal workers in the country, without doubt the best sari weavers in the country, and then kind of working with the brilliant things they already do. So they're kind of a starting block in a lot of ways, and then I design around what the parameters of that. How wide is the loom? How much time have we got? How much all the real world dimensions and things that we can operate within. We've been developing that kind of global tribe thing, and for our next show in September, can't tell you too much about what that's going to be,
course.
But it's an extension of what we're doing, and it's a bit more extreme. And one of our catchphrases for the brand is "blending in is losing," which is why we make clothes for with Boy George as an example.
So yes, tell us about your clients. So obviously, you've known Boy George for a long time.
Well, I met him originally when I was probably about 17, 18.
Right. Well, exactly
at Philip Salon's Mud Club.
So
back then,
Philip Salon was another gentleman I love Philip Salon. Yeah. He's a character.
Philip comes to our shows. Philip wears our clothes, and has been very supportive with us as well. So, big shout out to Philip as well.
Yeah, big shout out to Philip.
We've been working towards these things anyway, and the next show. But in the meantime, in between those things, then what we specialise in is celebrities. So when we opened at the Lighthouse in Soho, which is Joe Corey's new amazing shop, and we were in there from the beginning last September, our very first client was Boy George, who walked in when I wasn't even there, and put on one of our jackets and loved it, and God bless him, bought it.
It really suits him as well, I have to say.
He looks amazing in it.
Yeah, he does.
So he wore it for his DJing set, wore it in his pop video. That I think all within the first week of owning the jacket. So for us, that was like
good for Joe. Great PR, amazing,
absolute dream client, and we're massive fans of George, of course. And then we've also been to Nag 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 where he DJs, and we know Ricardo Castro very well. So we styled some of his kind of like club celebrity people, and the girl on the door, and Johnny Slut and Phil OK and a lot of the DJs in there. We dressed those people like on the night. So I still love doing that, because you just turn up with a rail of clothes, put it all in a back room, and then just
tell us about Suki as well.
Walks in the door.
Because Suki, when I went to one of your parties in the hotel, Suki was wearing an amazing outfit that you designed as well.
Yeah.
She's a singer, right?
Yeah. So Suki's the daughter of two very good friends of mine, Sonia and Andy, which is how we originally met her. And Sonia, who's also my sort of super stylist for all my shows as well, very talented lady. She suggested Suki for one of our shows, which was in the British Museum last June, I think.
Fabulous.
And she came down, and she was brilliant, and did the show. And then we've got a very kind of reciprocal relationship in our little kind of fashion tribe, in that, like, people support us, and then we always support them as well.
Sure.
So if a model comes and helps us and looks amazing in one of our shows and spends a day working with us, universally I'd be like, well, if you want to borrow clothes for your gig, if you're a singer like Suki is, or if you're a model or an actress like, for instance, Tallulah was, who's in our shows as well, then yeah, we lend them clothes, and we let them do shoots on their own and promote stuff. And Suki, for my birthday, which was last July, and you were there as well.
I was there, yeah.
She came down and sang I think 3 songs.
She did.
And we dressed her in the current collection.
Oh wow, that outfit!
She just looked amazing.
She did.
Yeah. So and I've styled her. I think once since then as well, with some other pieces.
Can we mention Benji?
Well, as I said, Benji called me this morning.
Okay, so this is a wonderful Benji Webb. Congratulations, bro! #1, you got this.
Congratulations.
And we actually went to his show at Raven Records, the acoustic show, and then you caught up with Benji, and I love Benji. He's a great guy. I've been very lucky to interview him a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you went to the show and got to actually meet him in person, didn't you?
Yeah, well, the show in the basement.
Yes,
on
that's
that
right.
Day.
Yeah.
So it was lovely to go, and I'd spoken to Benji, I think just once or twice on the phone previously, about doing what we do, and basically making some unique stage costumes, and Benji's such a massissive character.
Absolutely.
That he's someone that he's like another dream ticket, but someone
Yeah,
that we can
of
work
course,
with.
dream ticket. That's a great word.
We met at Raven Records. It was the first time I met him and the band all in person, and then we had that incredible gig in the basement where they did their little acoustic set of a couple of numbers for like probably 10 people, literally.
Yeah.
So it was quite a special moment. And Benji actually phoned me this morning on the way here, in fact, and
Big love to Benji.
and we're just beginning the process of talking about what he
I
wants,
can't wait.
and how
That'd
we can
be
work
great.
together and getting some Benedict Lamb on the back of the amazing Benji, who's #1 in the charts today. He told me, so congratulations. Yeah,
So I want to change the subject a bit, Benedict. So we've been, like I said, we've known each other a long time, and so obviously fashion and being a designist on your past, but also what I really have to commend you about is not only, you work really hard, but you're such a wonderful father. And I want you to tell everyone your story about your wonderful son, Zach, and the Dravet Syndrome. So you will explain it better than me. So please tell everyone about Zach and what you've actually campaigned for, and what the situation is now, because full respect and love to you for that always.
Thank you. You've had the pleasure of meeting my lovely son Zach multiple times. So I'll condense this quite quickly, because so Zach's actually 29 years old now for a start. So you can imagine the story is quite long. So this will be a condensed one. But since birth, unfortunately, he was born with a very rare, unfortunately quite drug-resistant epilepsy called Dravet Syndrome. And it's actually from a genetic mutation, so it can be hereditary in some cases, but actually very rarely. And in our case, it isn't. It's a SCN1A gene mutation, which kind of means it's a very structural. If it's in your genes, it's like the building blocks of you. So it's quite a serious condition, and it causes obviously seizures. It causes developmental delay. It causes many epilepsy-orientated conditions. But most importantly, it is very pharmaceutical drug resistant. I.e., the NHS can't stop that condition. And we got to him being the age of 15, and he was actually very ill, like extremely ill at that point. And the NHS actually wrote us a letter saying Zach's got 6 to 12 months to live, and there's nothing more we can do.
Heartbreaking for a parent to read that.
Yeah, so we got sent away on one of these amazing Make-A-Wish Foundation holidays, right? So that's the stage we were at, you know. So me and I think about 8 or 9 family members all went away with Zach to Ibiza, and we had like a villa on top of a hill with a swimming pool as our, and it was supposed to be a goodbye holiday. That's why we were sent there. And then on that holiday, my brother and I sat on the edge of a swimming pool, just started Googling, you know, what can you do about this? What are the alternative treatments? And medical cannabis and CBD flashed up, which I didn't know. Previous to that, didn't know anything about, to be honest. And we found that there was a company in America doing a drug trial. And anyway, I managed to meander my way and had a conversation with the CEO of this company once we got back to the UK. And then,
So that must have given you a bit of hope straight away, that they actually
Just to
responded
see-
to you,
yeah,
and
well,
you
just-
know,
yeah,
and
just-
to see there's a possible
yeah,
alternative.
just to see there was an alternative, and also to see that there was a natural alternative. I think
Absolutely, yeah.
I like you, I'm a big fan of the natural. Long story short, we managed to get Zach to be the first person in the UK to have a medical cannabis drug trial, legally, basically. So authorised through the hospitals and a licence written. And it was a unique situation. So normally a drug company will write a license for a drug for a country. So in the UK, it would be England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales would all have separate licenses for a drug company. And in this instance, to accelerate the process, the drug company wrote a license for Zach, which previously had never happened. Right? So we broke that rule. We got him to be the first one. And he went from being very shut down and extremely ill within, I would say, about 8 days to sitting up in bed and chit-chatting away again.
But he had a lot of seizures in one
Yeah.
night, wouldn't he? Like over
Yeah,
15 or something like that.
Yeah, so he used to average sort of 15, 16 full tonic-clonic seizures every night for 15 years.
And that must be heartbreaking as a parent to see your child
Yeah.
suffer.
Oh no.
and-
And exhausting for Zach, you know, because he's just permanently in recovery basically from that. But with the medical cannabis, after 8 days, we're down from 15 a night to 2 a week on average. And we're still at roughly that point now, one or two a week now. So it's incredibly well managed. And then off the back of that, I've been involved with some amazing charities, End Our Pain, which is run by Joanne Griffiths, who's my shout out to Joanne as well, who's one of my heroes and also a parent of a child like Zach called Ben. And we've been involved. We've been to Parliament multiple times. We've been to 10 Downing Street. We've spoken to lots of MPs and spoken in the House of Lords and spoken to all these things and become very much at the sort of spearhead, really, of
But you also had to sign
legalisation.
an NDA, didn't you, when you first that was taken there?
Yes.
So you know that must have been difficult, like seeing other parents suffer, and you know. But then on the flip side, you know, this drug is working for your son. And you know, there's hope for other parents too.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more hope now because
Great.
medical cannabis is legal, and the drug my son is on, which is called Epidiolex, is actually available on the NHS now. You know, so there is a medical cannabis drug available on the NHS. Regarding the NDA, it just shows how far we've come because we had to, you know, the drug company have to do the licensing thing with the government, but then it still has to be prescribed through a hospital to go to a patient. And initially the hospital said no, they didn't want to be involved with cannabis. And after 2 days of me chucking 2 quite aggressive lawyers at them, they agreed to do it if I signed a 2-year NDA. Not mentioning the hospital name, which was Croydon Hospital, by the way, and anything about the drug in a public arena at all, which I agreed to. The drug worked on Zach, and now bizarrely, the consultant that actually wrote the letter saying that Zach's got 6 to 12 months to live, who's an amazing head of paediatrics, an amazing doctor, and who also knew my son since birth. He was actually present at my son's birth, so he knew Zach very well. He was the one that wrote the letter, and then 2 years later, he was on the lecture circuit lecturing about patient Z and how medical cannabis works. So we brought that to them basically, and now it's on the NHS and there's
fantastic.
I would imagine there's.
He also has autism as well, doesn't he?
He's got epilepsy is his main condition. He's got autism
But I've seen him. He's so happy.
He's the happiest human being I know. Yeah,
the carers. He has a lovely interaction with his lovely carers as well.
Yeah. And we've got a beautiful, I call it a kind of a very modern family. So we have 24/7 care for Zach. So we've got 4 amazing carers, and the longest serving one's been with us for 12 years now, and they live with us in our house in Norfolk and our place in London. So they're with us all
That's
the time.
beautiful.
So
Love that.
so it's like an extended and slightly unusual family, I suppose is how we've ended up. Yeah. But they're great, yeah, and most importantly, my son is happy.
And less seizures and
Less seizures,
more
and,
communicative.
yeah, and as I said, I mean, happy and healthy is all we can wish.
Absolutely,
is all you can wish on anybody.
Yeah.
And with Zach, you've seen him. He's extremely happy.
Yeah.
And bless him, because of his conditions, he doesn't even really understand that he's ill, which is again a really blessing. So he doesn't get down from that. He just sees the people he loves, and sees the food he loves, and sees the entertainment he loves, and the places he loves, and just generally has a good time. Yeah.
Fantastic. So coming back to Benedict Lamb, tell us where everyone can find you online. I know there's lots of great press, and also you've got a fantastic website, and also, like you say, you've got something coming up September, but not giving too much away. So tell us your future plans. Who is it also you'd like to collaborate with, either as a fashion designer or maybe another celebrity or musician? Yeah. So a lot of questions there, sorry.
Okay, I'll work my way through that list,
sure,
if I can remember them all. So first of all, where we sell and how we sort of promote ourselves to the world. So as I said, we're working in the Lighthouse, which is 48 Berwick Street, Soho, which is Joe Corey's building. And he's created an amazing umbrella for for young up-and-coming designers.
I love that.
So there's about roughly 20 designers across 5 floors, and we've been lucky enough to be in there since the very beginning. So it's a really unique, beautiful space. So he's curated it really well.
He's a great guy. I met him.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy.
And he, it's obviously Vivienne Westwood's son,
and
had
Malcolm McLaren's son,
son, and had Agent Provocateur, which is
exactly,
clearly a global success. So he totally understands the fashion business. And it's great the fact that he's a kind of very anti-corporate, he's still got the anarchy thing going on, and the nature of what's going on at the Lighthouse is very much about that.
Fantastic.
So he's embraced a lot of brands that are small, a lot of people that use craft the way we do. So we don't use any factories. It's all artisan craft people. It's all individuals. So that's how we make the stuff. So small numbers are very good quality stuff, basically. We also promote through our website, benedictlamb.com, who we're going to work with. I mean, we have a sort of gentle trickle of people that kind of are seeing us more and more. We've had quite a lot of good press this year. I don't want to sort of name too many names right now, but anyway, but
a lot of exciting things.
Yeah, we've got a few really amazing musician artists, and what's lovely is that people from different age brackets and different race situations. So we've got like black dance crew people that are looking at it and going, "Wow, that's sick," basically, which is fantastic. And then we're dressing another guy who's like 65 years old, classical musician. So that whole
that must make it so interesting for you as well. The variety of people that you dress and style as well.
Yeah. And we've got a couple. We've got a neoclassical pianist kind of lined up. And for our next show, we've got without giving too much away, we've got another classical musician who's phenomenal, who we will dress and have as part of the show as well, if all comes good. So lots going on. I mean, desperately trying to keep up with it all at the moment. I think,
but enjoy the ride. You deserve it, and especially what you have done for Zach and other children suffering from that condition. And big love to you, to all the parents as well, and thank you to all the hospitals and doctors and the actual, hopefully the politicians that have listened to you. So. Big love.
Some of them have,
big love to you for that. That's amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Benedict.
Brilliant. No, thank you for having me on.
This has been TerryTopCat for TerryTopCat Purrsents. ClusterView.com. Mark Anthony Abel filming and editing, and it'll be out soon. Thank you so much, Benedict. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Always a joy to talk to you, Terry.
Likewise.